Tag TV and Tag Radio. Be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. Fact, it's not about IT services anymore. It's about an emotionally invested IT professional who can provide you with business-transforming technology. That's right, managed IT services, technology assurance programs, telephone and unified communications, virtualization and advanced computing, cloud computing, backup systems and disaster planning, managed print and copier services, wireless and mobility, and, oh yes, collaboration. It's far too easy to get lost in the day-to-day support of an ongoing organization's IT environment. If you're not careful, an IT service provider could become, well, too focused on turning screws or just solving a problem, when the fact is, in today's economy, the only thing that really matters is your company's mission, its meaning of your operations. Imagine an IT service provider that actually cares and wants to know why your company exists, why you and your growing staff come to work every day. What makes you different? After all is said and done, what really matters are values that ensure your needs are understood, designed properly, deployed successfully, and supported faithfully, long term. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, December 17, 2013, and this is a special statewide tag member-focused edition of Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mandela. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. Did you know that almost anywhere you travel across Georgia, you can now find a network nearby of technology pros ready to help you benefit from your visit? That's right. TAG now has chapters up and running in Athens, Augusta, Columbus, Macon, Valdosta, and Savannah, and more coming soon. Up to today's statewide chapter member introduction, meet Rob Betzel, founder, president, CEO of Infinity Network Solutions, a leading IT services company based in Macon that provides support to businesses in various industries throughout the state of Georgia. As president and CEO of Infinity Network, Rob serves his employees and clients by focusing on how to maximize today's technology and be ready for tomorrow's. Infinity is one of the largest IT services firms in Middle Georgia. Their focus on providing fixed-fee IT services and IT infrastructure as an operating expense makes them unique in their market. As an active member of the local community, Rob serves as an advisor to schools of informational technology at Georgia College, Macon State College, and Central Georgia Technical College. He is a regular speaker at groups and on current and engaging IT trends, including disaster recovery, cloud computing, outsourced IT, hardware, software, and infrastructure as a service. He also co-authored a book, The Company Culture Challenge, and he uses his experience leading a successful company that focuses on culture to providing insights and guidance to people and organizations who seek to improve their companies and organizations. Emotionally invested IT professionals may just be the difference in today's fiercely competitive digital economy. Find out as the Tech Talk focuses on finding the best wherever, anywhere in Georgia they are, delivering world-class performance. As we travel to Macon, Georgia, to meet CEO that is so passionate about the culture of caring that he wrote the book, Infinity Network Solutions, founder, president, and CEO, Rob Betzel. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by Globalspeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of Globalspeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. Rob, welcome to Tech Talk.
Thank you for having me today.
You know, one of the great opportunities we have on the program is to speak to the people that are out on the battlefield, right where the tire meets the road, whatever analogy you want to use, where the things are happening. And with today's evolution of disruption and cloud computing, and we could rattle through all of the cliches, and I think a lot of our listeners deal with day in and day out, not to take them lightly, but things like broadband and apps. And I was talking to a fellow just the other day that was talking about healthcare and said something like 40,000 apps in healthcare alone. So whole innovation tsunami, if you will, that's happening around your particular industry. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about the biggest changes that you've seen in IT since you started the company.
Gosh, since we started back in 2000, probably the biggest innovation that I've seen probably come in the last, let's say, 24 months. I think with the consumerization of IT, that big push for, probably everybody who would be listening would talk about the number of devices we all carry, right? Mm-hmm. All the listeners now carry 2, 3, 4 devices potentially, and how easy it is for us to get them, to enable them, and use them. I think that's changed the dynamic of how my business operates, and as we interact with IT departments and businesses, how they have to operate, because we're no longer sort of the keepers of the stuff. We have to transform to being the enablers of what they want to consume on. And so I think the biggest change is that mindset to say we don't control it anymore. They will get it whether we like it or not. The only thing we can do is enable them in an effective way that meets corporate and organizational strategy. I guess you could draw the analogy to almost self-directed healthcare. I mean, in the same way, the patient now is directing himself. That's interesting. That's an interesting challenge, because my guess would be, how in the world do you keep up with that? I mean, how not only the changes that have to be made, but basically, like the joke about herding cats. If they're out running around, playing around with the latest and different, equipment or different application, that could even, I'm guessing, disrupt the network or whatever system they're using, cloud or no cloud, within their own enterprise. It can. I think the biggest thing we're seeing is that the technology department used to think that the endpoint was the control mechanism, and now we're saying, okay, if you're going to control the endpoint, then we have to control everything behind it. And I think we had to rethink IT strategy to say, okay, we have to get it to you, but we're going to have to get it to you in a consistently deliverable way, right? We can't let you go out and get something net new that just going to disrupt the way the whole organization works. So, yeah, I mean, our strategies have to shift to better IT security around data, because we have to control it in the back end. So, right, I mean, the end user is driving it now, especially, like I said, from the end, where they work where they want, when they want, and how they want. We have to find a way to enable that, and I think it's good for business. It makes IT more strategic and less tactical. Well, it's kind of an evolutionary thing. I can remember just a few years ago when they were talking about the CTO or CIO outside of the boardroom, and then all of a sudden they were inside the boardroom, and even dealing with issues like fulfillment and sales and marketing, because it was all integrated into the systems that they were operating with. So, well, and then you got CFOs and HR directors who are now they're spending money on IT, whether IT departments like it or not. So yeah, we have to find our place again, and it has to be very strategic and supportive instead of very. We used to be the department of no. And now we have to be the department of how. And some people have been doing that for years, but that's a big shift, and for businesses to allow IT to have that voice. That consumerization is definitely, like I said, as the listeners probably can all attest. I'm sitting here now on my desk. I've got 5 devices, all of which I use every day, and that's an absurd number, but that's what I choose to do. Well, but I think it's a fascinating challenge. It sounds exciting on the surface, but you can't deal with a single vertical. You've got to deal with multiple verticals because, again, something we say here probably too much is going to be a cliche, but depending on the vertical, it really is the same thing, only different. They're all dealing with the same disruption. Well, I jokingly saying, does change really exist anymore? Because change requires a static standard point that you say, okay, and then we moved from there, remember? Well, heck, now it's a successive transformation. So in that particular situation, how do you become a thought leader when you don't know what's around the corner in a particular vertical? What we do, I mean, we sit so much in the infrastructure side for our organization that you're right, that every vertical has its own challenges. What we have to do is be very good at understanding how the technology enables a business. We have to understand how it transforms business, and then we have to listen to their needs and line those up. Our world is easier because they're looking to technology now for that. So I would say they're all rapidly rushing through. Again, we do small business and city, county governments throughout the state. We have to be really good at that core infrastructure so that they can say, okay, here's our problem. How do you implement technology to that problem? And that's when we have to be really good at understanding that bridge. Do you sell that as a service or use it as a value proposition as far as part of the overall packaging of dealing with the company? It depends on our relationship with the clients. For small business, we actually operate as an outsourced IT department. So we are the IT director, CIO, down to the help desk tech. For some of our larger organizations, we are an adjunct component. So in some cases, it's a transactional relationship around a solution. In some places, it's part of our in-house IT solution. So we serve our clients differently, but the same. Sort of like you said, the same way you said that earlier.
Well, but again, I can understand the need to do that. The challenge becomes how do you create a unique competitive selling proposition. I mean, really what's happening to your industry is, in a sense, what we're talking about with the overall technology, and that there's a convergence. Because at one point you would have had maybe a strategist or some form of agency consulting type situation that would provide the leadership of, say, the system or the design that needed, and then you might come in and just quote on the components of it. And most of the time the components were branded, so to a degree it was an issue of leveraging off of their credibility, if you would. I'm probably oversimplifying it, but I'm guessing now.
No, you're right. And so I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek's start with the why, and so we always believe that technology transforms an organization. That's what we started the company because of, and we wanted to be the people to enable it. But we also wanted to focus on the people of the organization and not just the organization or the technology. So our company's why has always been that technology transforms. And so this evolution just sort of fits with the way we've operated. We're an agent of change and a change organization. So we've always lived there and always believed it. And we work really hard to. With our clients and our prospective clients in education, we spend a significant amount of our time and energy doing educational events. Every year we probably put on anywhere from 4 to 10 educational events that aren't sales pitches, but they're there to take a technology or a vertical and discuss it deeper and better, so that they can go away and say, okay, well, how do we go do that? And so we differentiate by being that agent of change, and then being an agent of education for our clients.
One of the things I'll say to my clients is that if you're going to sell technology, use technology. Are
Correct.
you using technology from a mobile standpoint to provide virtual services? Are you doing some of that? I mean, is the future of what you do as mobile as some of the services that you provide or advocate for the customers that you provide?
It is, and the world is flat, and we aren't bound by geography the way we used to be. I mean, so yes, our organization, our VP of Sales and Marketing lives in Athens and comes to Macon a couple days a week. We have different team members that can work remotely, so we can reach technology, people that might be in California to help us. So we're able to be that center point of contact for our clients, but then just leverage technology. Say, okay, well, I need to do this one thing one time. I'm not going to stand something up to do it. Who's the best at it? And how can I leverage them in? But yeah, I no longer own a phone from a traditional sense. We've definitely begun to embrace the technology, and this last year we totally gutted our entire infrastructure, rebuilt it, and actually leveraged an event around our office, brought all of the clients and prospects in the area, and said, here's what we're doing. Here's everything we're doing with technology, from soup to nuts, CRM to ticketing to phone systems to virtualization to mobile application. Here's how we use it. Here's why we use it. And here's what it does for us. That's
a huge story, though. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of competitors maybe do that same thing, but I'm not really familiar with it, doing an adequate enough job that it's gotten to my consciousness, because I think that's a kind of, it's almost like in a life experience type situation. You really can't tell me how to do it or what I need to do if you're not doing it or experiencing it yourself. And
the last couple of years, we won't do it again this next year, but the last couple of years we've rented a movie theater out for the latest release of superhero movies, and we've done a 2 or 3 hour event beforehand with a live infrastructure with Citrix systems, and that's always been one of our big events. Again, we're going to step away from it this year to do something different, but we want to bring it in and let people touch it. Here, you break it, touch it, feel it, smell it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how you want to use it, because it doesn't matter what it does unless you understand what it's going to do for you.
Well, and the other side of it is the world's flat, and that means it's flat on your side and it's flat on mine. So that means
Correct.
I'm not restricted. I'm an antique collector. There was a time when antiques were priced by the market that the store was in. And so if you were ever, where I'm going with this is that now it's a case where it's a world marketplace, and it's efficient, and you can invest and save money because you can get access to that information pretty easily. The other side of it is it's also become more expensive and more competitive because the marketplace has broadened to not just the state or the region or the United States, it's the world. Where I'm going is
you got to have somebody to drive. You have somebody to drive it, though. I think the end need, though, will always be that yes, you can consume these point products, whether it's Salesforce.com or an application out of India even. Someone's got to integrate them. Someone's got to understand the business behind the technology, and those people at afar never can. So I think the localized strategic component, if not done in-house, has to be done by someone qualified. And so I think that's the part that we're excited about, and the part that we will always live in as an organization. We will be an enabler for wherever they want to consume whatever, and when we can be the one that leverages it for them, great. When we can't, we're going to be the one that connects it in.
Well, I guess where I'm headed with that, can you compete in a flat world from Middle Georgia? Do they
can.
Do they critique the location, bloom where you're planted kind of thing? You can't be that good if you're not in a metropolitan area. I mean, it's probably a subject most people don't want to touch upon, but it's one we live with every day.
Oh, you're right.
For all of my adult life, we've talked about 2 Georgias, and now it's a case where, obviously, with the broadband initiative and some of the things that are happening, I think some of the quickest leapfrog opportunities are in the rural markets as much as they are in the metropolitan areas.
And I think it does enable the reach. I can reach clients in Atlanta easier now, and the people in Atlanta can reach clients down here. But I still think at a level, there's always people want to do business at home with the people they know and see. And as our company grows, and we serve Middle Georgia well, and we serve a couple markets out of Middle Georgia. But as we expand, it will be into new markets with people in place, because there always will be a need for the human touch. I think the technology sometimes for the sake of technology causes us to lose our human component. And I think so we want that human piece.
Well, I think in a time of change, that's even more important than even in a time of a certain level of consistency. And so you want to be able to have a partner that you can depend upon, and not someone that's looking to sell you something, but looking to provide you with a solution, because they're not looking for a honeymoon, they're looking for a marriage. They want a relationship over an extended period of time. Let's talk a little bit about the markets you serve. Yeah, you've touched upon a couple, but what markets do you serve?
So our primary market is small business in the greater Middle Georgia area that hopefully will expand over this next year. And then we serve the city, county governments, and K-12 school systems throughout the state. So our reach is pretty much the entire state, but our focus day-to-day is more to Middle Georgia. But, again, we have clients all the way to north side of Atlanta, all the way, down to the southeast of Georgia. So it's really where we try to go where the client has a need that we line up. And again, you talk about selling. We look at it as we don't sell anything people buy, and so we have to find a way to provide them what they want to consume, not what we want to sell them.
I would think education is going to be one of those fields where leadership really does matter, because there's so many changes to that culture, quote unquote. Again, the same thing, only different in terms of being impacted by all of the virtualization and all of the cloud type of situations that can be brought to the table. And you've got the business sector of education and the education sector of education.
Correct.
And it'd be interesting at some point to discuss whether those things converge, or do you deal with 2 independent leadership groups and try to get them to collaborate on a single system. I'm trying to think of another situation. I think healthcare kind of fits in that scenario, at least at times. We're quickly running out of time, but let's talk about one last thing, and that is, I think our listeners would hate it if I didn't pose a question, and that is, as a leader, you've seen some pretty strong impacts on your business. Talk about the next few years. What's going to be the biggest impact on your business?
I will say that regardless of the years in business, I think the biggest impact is always culture. We are highly focused on company culture. It's something that we believe that building the right culture of your organization is what matters. Getting those people there that buy into the same things you do and want to do the same things you do, and then finding the clients that work with them. So as a leader, my focus is always, I'm as a CEO primarily of our company, I serve 3 distinct groups. I serve my employees, I serve my clients, and I serve my vendors, and I serve them as people. So I work on the culture of organization. The technical piece can be taught. The cultural piece is always the thing that if you start with that strong foundation, the company grows.
Well, obviously, knowledge is power. Expertise is a unique competitive advantage, certainly one that is based on experience and the length of experience that you guys have, you in particular. But I think also integrity, honesty, passion, sincerity, the kind of stuff that's coming through the answers that you're providing for our listeners today speaks a lot, Rob, about why your company is so successful. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for joining for a few minutes to talk about your business and IT in general on Tech Talk.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.